Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and today's show is going to be on how to create a simple brine for chicken and pork chops, because many people, when they cook these lean cuts of meat, they have problems because they dry out during the cooking process. So even though you may cook a recipe to the recommended temperature or the recommended time of cooking, the meat just comes out bland and dry and you don't want to eat it. This technique will help solve that problem. Now let's get brining. Today we're going to brine 4 small pork chops. So the basic ingredients is about a quart of ice cold water. We're going to use a half a cup of kosher salt. If you don't have kosher salt and you only have table salt, something like this, then use half of it. So in this case, since we're using half a cup of kosher salt, use about a quarter cup of table salt. We're also using brown sugar. I'm using half a cup of that as well. If you don't have brown sugar, then you can use maybe a third of a cup to a half a cup of white granulated sugar as well. We're also going to use bay leaves. I have about 4 or 5 bay leaves. I have a couple of pinches of black peppercorns, and also a couple pinches of allspice berries as well for seasoning. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and add the water to a gallon Ziploc bag. You can also put it straight into a bowl if you want. I'm going to go ahead and add the salt, add the sugar, and then this I'm just going to give a quick shake to try to mix it up a bit. Now that's pretty well mixed up, I'll go ahead and throw the bay leaves, peppercorns, and allspice berries in, and I'll throw the pork chops in. And I'm going to squeeze out most of the air so that way the water pretty much is the only thing touching the pork chops. And I'm just going to keep it in the bowl because in case this bag were to leak, I really don't want to mess all over my refrigerator. So now we're going to put this in the refrigerator for about an hour. If you had more quantities of meat or bigger meat or something like that, then maybe a little bit longer. But this is small enough and it's not going to require a constant flip-flopping to keep it all submerged. An hour will be sufficient. It's important that while your meat is brining that you do keep it at food safe temperatures, such as 40 degrees or cooler, such as in your refrigerator or in ice or something. Once the brining is completed, bring your meat out to the sink and rinse off all the excess salt, pat it dry, and optionally you can put it back in the fridge on a wire rack so the refrigerator air can circulate and dry your meat a little bit more. So that way you have better crisping when you cook your meat in your pan or oven or however you're going to cook it. A few things to keep in mind when brining chicken or pork is it only applies to meat that is not enhanced. That is, if the ingredients list salt or any form of salt, then do not do this because the meat is already salt. Same thing with kosher. You don't want to brine kosher meat. Second thing is, if you are going to brine chicken or pork, be careful of your cooking method. Usually you want to salt for flavor, but since the meat already has a little bit of salt in it due to the brining, it may come out a little salt. So just keep that in mind. So to review, in this case we took pork chops, but you can use this as well for chicken. We put it into a mixture of water with salt and sugar, and then we added some spices as well, and those are optional. Sometimes I'll just use sugar and salt and not even add spices. And then you leave it in the refrigerator for an hour or 2 until it's brine, and then you remove it from the refrigerator, rinse it off, pat it dry, and then now the meat is ready to be cooked. If you like this video, please subscribe below, and please visit our website, amylearnstocook.com. We're also on Twitter at twitter.com/AmyLearnsToCook.